I'm Rhett.
And I'm Brandon.
And we're the House Dads. Because we're dads who sell houses.
But we're also husbands, business owners, sports freaks, Christians,
friends, marketing nerds, TV show bingers, and so many more things.
Like so many of you, we're just trying to do it all, and we're trying to do it well.
And that's what we're here to talk about.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 28 of House Dads. So glad that you guys are here. You know, we were talking about before this kind of our shooting schedule coming up. We got some vacations planned. I'm leaving for fishing right after this with my Smart Move guys. Rhett's going to the beach next week. Maybe you're watching us on vacation. Maybe you're at the beach, at the pool, or I don't know. Maybe you're on your way to work, whatever it is. We're glad that you joined us. Where are y'all going?
We're going to the Grand Hotel. I don't know where
I asked you, is that Point Clear? And you're like, I don't know. I'm just
I know it's not in Louisiana. I think Alabama. Is that what?
How do y'all do vacations? Are you a planner? Does Brandy do the planning?
Brandy's a big planner.
Gotcha.
And we've really never taken we've been on trips with our girls before, but this will be like just us.
Yeah, cool.
And we're like, let's start setting some memories of like just the family.
Yeah.
So it's a cool hotel, but it's like they have a lot of activities for kids. It's like you don't leave it. It's not like you go out, you just stay there at night. It's a pretty there's a lot of activities. We're
doing kind of the same thing. We have a spot. We got church camp in a couple of weeks. That is not a vacation.
No.
These heathens back here keep me up. But anyway, we have one with the family, and it's the same kind of deal, just a little with the kids at the beach and all that different stuff. I am definitely the planner, though. Courtney's like, all right, just go with the flow. I plan it.
I'm the type where business, work, I'm like plan, execute. When it comes to vacation, I just kind of like sit. And Brandy's like, all right, let's do this. And I'm like, we're total opposites whenever we do that stuff. Where y'all going fishing?
We're going, it's not like one of the places like Venice or Cocodrie or stuff like that. It's just right in Lafitte, actually, where a lot of my family's from. It's right south of New Orleans. And we got the whole group going. We're going to stay tonight, go red fishing tomorrow morning.
Do you have any guys that are like not fishermen or outdoors?
I've got a couple that's like, I have not fished in like since I was a child. So I said, look, we got a charter, we got a guide.
Tell
it's
us
not
what to
like
do.
Yeah, but I'm excited, man.
That would be
a good little bonding moment.
Just tell me what to do.
What to do, exactly. Yeah, it'll be fine. But excited about what we got for you today. It's kind of perfect. I didn't even think about that with the vacation and everything like that. You know, we are in a society that elevates and that promotes the grind.
Yes.
And work and work and work and busy and busy and busy. So today we're going to be talking about the opposite of that and how we run away from it.
Yes, we are titling this The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, How to Slow Down. So,
yes, huge.
But yes, there's no denying we're in like a fast-paced world.
Right.
You're listening to a leadership podcast. Some of our past episodes are how do we get more done and the amount of time that we have. How many times have you said or heard someone say, I wish I just had more time in the day?
Yeah.
Right? So, but we aren't talking about in this episode how to get more stuff done. We're doing the opposite. We're telling you how and why it's important to rest and find some time to just slow down.
Yeah, time is the great equalizer, right? Everybody's got the same 24 hours in a day. So, it's easy for somebody who's busy like us or like a lot of you to look at somebody and says, oh, I'm just tired. And it's like, and you get frustrated with that person. You're like, if only you knew, right? But time's the great equalizer. So what I've had to learn too is like instead of getting frustrated with somebody who's got rest, is I have to schedule my rest.
Yep.
I have to schedule my time to slow down. I have to be just as intentional about that as the other parts of my life too.
You feel like you're pretty good at like finding time to rest?
No.
I say this because, and we mentioned this in the last episode, we had dinner with our wives, and Brandy asked me when she was leaving, or when we were leaving, she's like, when does Brandon like find time to just like not do? Because real estate can be a everyday thing.
Right.
And being in ministry, it's obviously a Sunday, and it's an everyday thing too, basically. So like, you feel like you have a good grip on rest at all? You take a Sabbath?
I don't feel like I have a good grip on it.
Yeah.
I could do better. Like I really do make a priority of it. I make sure that on Sundays I do everything I can to do no real estate work on Sundays. That is my Sabbath, and obviously we're going to church and everything like that. But it is a lot of delegation. If I didn't have Courtney, not only just keeping me sane, like just with things at home, but with church and other elements and with the boys and stuff, I wouldn't be able to do it. But, I realize that the place that I am the worst at rushing and hurrying is at home, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so, like, last night we stayed up late with the boys. I let them watch the baseball game with me late, and This is a couple weeks after the baseball game just happened, but
Go Tigers.
Yeah, go Tigers.
Maybe by the time people watch this, we've won the World
We'll
Series.
be champs, baby. Yeah, that's the plan. Go beat Florida. Go Tigers. But we stayed up late. It took forever to get Lucas down. I didn't get in bed till like 9:30. And I was going to bed, and I just spent that long time getting Lucas down. And then Courtney was like, "Hey, we go get me some water." And like in that moment, I was like, "Yeah, I'll throw that cup of water like at the wall." Like I was just like so mad, not at her, and she wasn't being ungrateful or unconsiderate, but I was just rushing things and not her. And Brandy posted something like this, so it was so funny. But I didn't do any of that. Humbled myself, grabbed the water, went and filled it up, and walked back. And when I got back, I was like, that took me like 13 seconds.
Not long at all.
And then it reminded me of like the mornings with my boys that I'm like rushing. Max, come here. Let me put your pants on. Let's go. And through all the rushing, through all the hurry, maybe it saves us 30 seconds, a minute, or maybe it actually cost us time.
Probably does cost
fighting with our children to get them ready and all these different things. Like through all this hurry and rushing and stuff, I'm just being inefficient.
Yeah.
I'm not resting. I'm being foolish. And so some ways I think I do okay, and then others, man, I struggle.
I get it. Yeah. I feel like I have never really had, most of my jobs, if not all of them, have been like, let's say entrepreneur type jobs. Yeah. They haven't been like an hourly pay type thing.
Right.
So I have kind of grown up thinking, hey, if I got time, I should be being productive with my time and doing something. Like there's never a cutoff. All right, I'm done working. In my head, I'm always I'm thinking about what I should be doing. I feel guilty almost by shutting off.
Yeah.
So, it can cause some lack of rest, so to say.
100%.
So to give you an example of that, Brandy and I, our number one most argued topic. You ready? For all you people who are
I'm ready.
Newly married or about to get married. It's when do we show up to an event? She is the type. She wants to show up 10 to 15 minutes early and just kind of sit or just kind of make sure we're on time.
Yeah.
I am the type. I want to get there on time because I want to use that 10 to 15 minutes to do something productive. I want to fill every minute with like productiveness, right?
Yeah.
So we always argue with we should be leaving this time. And I'm like, we got this much time. So what if there's traffic? It's like there won't be. Then there's traffic and I get in trouble. So it's a constant battle. But again, I always feel like my time, I need to use it efficiently, right? So I'm always trying to fill it up with stuff.
You don't want to waste time just being early. So.
Don't want to waste time. But at the end of the day, like you say, it causes a little more harm than good. Mm-hmm. We're in a hurry.
It really does.
We're going to talk about what being in a hurry actually does to you, or not finding time to rest and to recharge, what it does to you.
Right.
So, before getting into that, as we get into that, we're going to bring you back in time here, a little history lesson.
I love that.
So, again, we are talking about...
pull it out.
A lot of this is based off of this book right here. One of my favorite books. I don't know what camera to do it at.
Yeah, something.
It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. He's a pastor. Incredible book, but it starts off with him kind of giving a little like, hey, he's got a successful church. He's doing this many services, huge congregation. But at the end of the day, he's like, I don't feel joy in this whatsoever, and I don't know what to do.
I've read the book too, and I love Comer because he's so different than me.
Yeah.
Like even the way he preaches, the way he communicates, the way he talks, our personalities are very different. But like it's crazy how even though we're very different, at the end of the day, we can find ourselves doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And like when I'm reading his book and when I listen to a lot of his messages and stuff like that, I'm like, I know exactly what he's talking about. Like I've felt that exhaustion. I've felt those different things. And so, Comer's a great read, a great follow, all the different stuff.
It's a great book if you haven't checked it out. But getting into a little history of how we've gotten to be such a world of hurry and hustle and bustle. We didn't always have a clock. Right. People went down as the sun set, rose as the sun came up, and that's what we kind of based off of all of our time. We had a natural sense of time.
Right.
Till 1370.
Way back.
That pesky year. They created the first public clock tower. They created a clock in which we would call, I guess, artificial time.
Right.
And you could argue, yes, that's a great, which it is. It's a great time. And obviously created the artificial time so we could be more efficient with our time. We knew exactly what time it was, how much time we had left to do things. But at the end of the day, we were more machine-minded rather than like natural-minded. So we kind of set the tone. Again, it was a great thing at the time. It still is now. But it kind of just changed things.
It did. And that's what Comer's got a quote. He says this. He says, when the sun used to set our rhythms of work and rest, it did so under the control of God. But the clock is under the control of the employer, right? A far more demanding master. Like you, I've only had one job where I'd clock in.
Yeah.
And there's something about punching that clock.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It's intimidating. And your time is being controlled by a different master.
Yes.
It's different, for sure.
So we got the clock, right? And then as some time went, a lot of time, year 1879, our old buddy Tommy Edison.
We talked about him a lot. I guess he is semi-important in history, isn't he?
He's sponsoring us.
Yeah.
So we have to give him a shout out.
Edison family.
But he changed the game, obviously, and created the light bulb. And the premise of that was it gave us more time in the day.
Yeah, you can work at night.
When the sun went down, I got light. I can continue working. So before the light bulb, here's a little stat for you. We were getting an average of 11 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah, what else was there to do? It was dark.
True. But needless to say, we were pretty rested.
Yeah.
11 hours. I don't think I'd need that much, but either way, you didn't have much else to do.
Yeah.
So after the light bulb, and today, we're getting an average, I would even say less, but 7 hours of sleep a night.
Could you imagine getting 11 hours of sleep every night?
I don't think I'd want to.
But I wonder what it would change. Like, would we feel better? You know, I feel like you would, but I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, newborns sleep 12 hours.
Yeah.
Or no, I should say newborns. Babies, when they are sleeping through the night, typically are supposed to sleep 12 hours.
Right.
So you can see we lost rest, right?
Absolutely.
We lost some time that we're usually sleeping and our bodies are used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean.
And the thing is now where we are today is there's invention after new idea, new technology, and all these different things are actually made to give us back more of our time, to make us more efficient. But all it does, instead of embracing that time, we find something else to fill it because there's more technology and more inventions and more things like that. So even the things that are designed to make our lives more efficient and give us more rest, we just fill with other stuff. So it makes us feel busier and more hurried.
Yeah.
It's all counterintuitive. It all kind of just works backwards.
It goes back to the argument with Brandy and I. Like, she wants to have a little time to get there.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we got that time. We got to fill it with something.
Let's get it now.
We got to do it. So, the premise of those inventions and these things that come about, they're great.
Sure.
They're supposed to give us more time, allow us to be more efficient. But we as humans, especially with the invention of which the book talks so much about, you can tell John Mark Comer hates smartphones.
Yeah.
He's like, the invention of the iPhone was like, and they give some stats in there on how many the average time people pick it up.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the social media stuff all the time, but that is also like what we use to fill our time, right? So we don't use the time that we have, the extra time to rest. We use it to just we're filling it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get into these consequences here in a moment, but like one of the things that I think we find ourselves going to a lot is like when you're just talking about the iPhone, like Comer talks about a lot, is that we have these escapist behaviors. That's why like I practice silence a lot, like just riding in the car and just being quiet, is that we're trying to escape because we are so busy.
Right.
Our minds are so overwhelmed. Our days are so overwhelmed. And so that's when we find ourselves missing out on true connections with people.
Yeah.
You'll be in a conversation with somebody scrolling through Facebook because you're escaping what's right there in front of you because you just need a break.
Yeah.
But it's counterintuitive because all you're doing is going somewhere where you're not really present.
Right.
And so it's just, man, we have to fight hard against hurrying.
Yeah.
And being in that rush and that pressure.
And we don't want you to hear what we're not saying here. Like, yes, we're saying we're not saying don't hustle, don't work hard, that's what we're meant to do, I feel, is to work hard with the gifts that we've been given.
Yes.
But what we're stressing here is to find the time to rest, to recharge, and to try to take the hurriedness out of your life.
There's a proper balance. I mean, you look at just even the way God created the heavens and the earth, right? He worked for 6, but he rested for 1. So we are supposed to work, but we are supposed to prioritize rest as well.
Yes. And here's the thing. We're not supposed to just find rest on vacation. We talked about vacation.
Right.
That is the time to rest, but we want to stress finding that time to eliminate hurry from your everyday life.
That's huge, not just on vacation.
Every single day.
Yeah.
So, kind of harp and give you the reason of why we should try to eliminate this hurry. There's some consequences to hurrying. I think it's actually called a hurry syndrome is what he talked about in the book, but there's some symptoms of that. So one of them obviously is irritability. If you're like constantly in a hurry, like you got a quick trigger. Like when Courtney asked you to get some water, you were like,
I just want to relax. Just want to rest.
You're a little irritable.
Yeah.
Hypersensitivity. You're a little more like, you're not quite in your right state of mind to like react very well.
Right. Another one would be restlessness.
Yes.
Which sounds counterintuitive, but if you're hurrying so much, you can't even rest when you're trying to for a moment because you're so used to being busy.
Right.
And that leads into like that restlessness causes us to have like a workaholic mentality where we can't rest because we're so used to being busy. So we just got to do more work even when we should be resting.
And people love to brag about that. Like, I'm a workaholic. Yeah. Like, that's great. I know you want to work hard, but at the same time, that's not alcoholic. It's not a good thing.
Yeah. Alcoholic, anything at that end of it is not good.
Thing.
Yeah. You don't want anything there.
This is going to push some buttons. I don't love it when realtors will post they're eating in their car, something which I actually did today.
Yeah.
But they post, they're like, realtor life. I'm like, that's just, you're bragging about how busy. I don't know.
Right.
Working past a certain time.
Yeah.
Don't brag about the workaholic stuff.
Right.
You know you work hard.
Right.
Another symptom is emotional numbness. You just are not in tune to not only your emotions, but like others as well. If you're going to be a leader, you need to be well aware of other people's emotions.
Absolutely.
Out of order priorities. So obviously when we talk about time blocking, you need to prioritize what's most important. When you are in a hurry, you tend to try to just grab the easiest thing. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily focus on what's important.
What's most important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like when our priorities are out of order, we don't take care of our body. So lack of care of your body is another consequence of being hurried, is that we prioritize all the wrong things and we don't sleep, we don't work out, we don't exercise. Another thing, and I already mentioned this, was those escapist behaviors, escaping the present because we can't rest, our mind's so overwhelmed. Another one is like we slip our spiritual disciplines. These all kind of go back to our priorities getting out of line, where we're not prioritizing rest. So our spiritual disciplines fall by the wayside too.
Yeah.
Tons of consequences. Man.
On top of that, you just kind of feel alone. You're isolated. Whether it's physically or mentally, I would argue mentally, you just feel like you're on an island by yourself.
Which is crazy because we're all constantly surrounded by people and social media. The same thing that's meant to connect us actually makes us feel more isolated.
Yeah. I have a group of friends that we every Wednesday used to go get breakfast, but we all kind of realized, look, we need to find, like, we're working a lot. We need to find some time to, like, have friendships, so to prevent feeling isolated. But at the end of the day, all these things, we're not in our stable state of mind, and we're not operating at our best version of ourselves. Right. So you can see that, yes, being in a hurry, you can get more things done, but there's going to come a point, inevitably, you're going to have burnout. You're going to face some of these symptoms.
Right.
So we're going to give some extremely practical ways.
Right. I would say extremely practical and some extreme examples, but it's just, I think you got to, like, the examples we're about to go through, I think you need to, like, tailor them to your life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not a one size fits all and do all of these things, but if we start to implement some of them practically, it starts to fight for rest. It starts to fight for slowing down and not hurrying and rushing.
Yeah, these are practical ways, but they're also thinking topics of, like, wow, I actually do that. Like, not intentionally, but, it just gives you something to think about.
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
These first four are probably going to push some buttons because Baton Rouge is not quite known for having just smooth traffic.
No,
right?
It's terrible.
We have some pretty terrible traffic.
Yeah.
Side note, I saw an article on, I think it was Facebook, a business report.
Yeah.
And it was how Baton Rouge ranked a certain point of, like, the best run city, like number 18 in the country of the best run city.
Really?
I didn't even read it, but dude, the comments and the shares
terrible.
on that,
I was about to say,
absolutely.
I would have to consider the credibility of that author. Like, it's like, hey, look, I love where I live.
We love where I live, yeah.
I love Baton Rouge, but there's
no denying that we've got some things to work on. But yeah, the comments section, the share amount, I was like, oof, people are not happy.
Y'all, I'm not sure if y'all getting weed eater noise from outside. Oh, yeah. So just a disclaimer, if you're like, what's going on in my ears right now? That's just a weed eater. He'll be done
grass
soon.
Is growing crazy over here.
Yeah, it's summertime.
So some of these practical things we can be doing or thinking about to practice a slow, a non-hurried life.
Right.
1, drive the speed limit.
That's tough, right?
That's a hard one.
That's real tough.
Especially when you got somewhere to go.
Yeah.
But drive the speed limit. It obviously just, it helps you just slow down, obviously.
It's amazing, though, too. Like, this is funny aside, but, like, whether you're driving, one of my favorite things is when somebody, like, blows past me, cuts me off, all this different stuff, and then you get off the exit and you're right next to them.
Yeah. I love
You like,
I talked to him. I'm like, was it worth it?
yeah, exactly.
I didn't like say it out loud to
Yeah.
them, but I think it.
But exactly, you think it. And it is true, though, from that perspective. It's like, okay, if you're pushing the speed limit like 10 miles an hour faster or 10 miles an hour over and somebody else is going the speed limit, you're not going to gain that much advantage ahead of them. Now, over a long course of time, yes. But, man, from our normal commute, we don't gain back that much time.
No.
My dad would always – I'm a little bit more punctual, and my dad would always, you know – and I'd put something in the GPS. I'd be like, Dad, we need to be there in 30 minutes. He's like, I'll shave 7 minutes off. Like, Dad, we're driving, 20 miles down the road. You're not shaving 7 minutes.
No.
The miles are the miles.
Yeah.
So slow down, drive the speed limit.
Have you ever seen someone speed past you and then you see a cop pull them over?
I've never had that satisfaction.
neither.
I would
want
love
to.
that.
I would
That's
love
one of those moments you're like,
Yeah.
but no, I
laughing.
hadn't had that happen.
So, yeah, try to drive the speed limit. Obviously,
Yeah.
that will literally slow you down. Get into the slow lane.
That one I don't know.
feel like
I'm sorry, I'm poo-pooing on your idea. I don't know, man.
that's John Mark Comer's idea.
Sorry, John.
It's practicing, again, you're not being in a hurry if you get in the slow lane. Technically, you're supposed to be in the slow lane unless you're passing somebody.
Solid point.
That's the law.
Yeah.
But I think we're all pretty like, hey, wherever's open, that's where we're going.
I'm an all gas, no brakes kind of guy.
Hey, man. I mean, slow down.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, get into the slow lane. Come to a full stop at stop signs.
Yeah.
That's, again, the law.
Yeah, the law. Obey the law. Imagine that.
We have a Facebook group for our neighborhood, and there's people always complaining, these people aren't stopping at the stop sign. So,
Dude, that is my pet peeve. People flying through neighborhoods.
yeah, that is.
It's like, come on, man.
There's a stop sign right before my house. Like, my house is the next thing.
Yeah.
And I often will, I won't come to a complete stop.
Sure.
I'll coast a little bit.
Yeah.
But Brandy the other day was like, oh, so you're one of the perpetrators. I'm
Got
like,
her.
I want to get home quick.
Got you.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
Another one, don't text and drive.
Big.
Honestly, this one I definitely could practice.
Yeah.
One of the reasons, too, is because I want to listen to audiobooks.
Right.
And if I'm texting at the same time, well, it's not safe for one, but if I'm texting, I can't listen at the same time.
Right.
But they say, that's an option to.
Yeah, and
slow
not
down.
only just for the safety, but just the practice. Like, man, I drive I-12 into Baton Rouge every morning from Jubin, and the amount of people that I look around at cars,
Oh, yeah.
and if you're watching us, they're sitting here like this.
I've seen like old ladies
scrolling
on
while they're
phone.
driving, man. It's just like, practically speaking and safety-wise, it is not worth it, right? Like, you need to escape those 20 minutes of traffic on your face. Like, just stop, man.
Yeah.
Listen to something. That's fine, but man, to keep your eyes off the road and like that's a super important thing to practice.
We're
to slow
4
down.
in, and we're probably pushing a lot of buttons, and people are like, "This is stupid."
It's huge though. It's
But they're
important.
big. They're things that are like literally practically to slow down. A lot,
Yeah,
so.
and this one is me agreeing with Brandy and saying, Rhett, you got to get it together. Show up 10 minutes early for the appointment.
yeah.
You know, it's a
get
very practical thing to be able to slow down. And you may be like, well, how does that slow us down by showing up early? It's that you're not rushing because you're late.
Yeah.
Right? It's prioritizing appointments, prioritizing things that are important. Another practical thing, and I think that this is really cool. Like, I really do. Like, getting in the longest line at the grocery store. It's like, wait, why would I do that? That's counterintuitive. But it's like, it's telling you to, like, embrace that pace. Ooh. Like that rhyme?
That's good.
Embrace that pace.
Trademark that real quick.
Yeah, I just hit that, I'm a poet. But anyway, like getting in the longest line at the grocery store to just say, I don't have to rush out of here. I'm cool. Like usually one of my favorite things to do with the boys to kill time if mom's out doing her thing is we go to Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
And they go run through the play area for a while and they love that. And then we go to Rouse's and we find the little police car buggy and they ride in the police car buggy. And man, you know what? I can stand to be in line for a couple extra minutes with my boys by taking the longest line.
It is our natural tendency to look for the shortest line.
Right.
But yeah, look for the longest line.
Right. Another practical thing, and this is huge, turning your smartphone into a dumb phone. And practically speaking, and we've talked about this in previous episodes about social media addiction and stuff like that, it goes together by like setting boundaries on your phone, right? Setting times that you use them and that you don't. When your kids are kids, I love the confidence that they have to be able to realize that, like, I'm not the distraction. The phone's the distraction. So, Dad, pay attention to me.
Right.
And so, like, whether it's parenting or whether it's just escaping different things, it's like get out of it. Like just get out of your phone, turn it into a dumb phone a little bit. Maybe delete the apps that you just don't need,
taking
that you
things
don't
that
use
are just
often.
frill on there.
Exactly. You know, the games that you use to escape and stuff like
got Candy
that.
Crush in there. I haven't played that in years. I'm like, I think maybe one
just
day
in case.
I'll want to.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah. So
one of them I did not put on here was he said to trade in your iPhone for a flip phone. I was like, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, John.
Yeah, I don't know if I can operate business that way, but I like it. I really like it. That's great.
Yeah.
So
another thing, which I probably need to do a lot of, is set times for email. So I have my inbox literally right now pulled up.
Yeah.
And if I see inbox 1 or 2, like I'm not the type that has a bunch of unread emails. If I see one, I immediately go to it.
Right.
So, but if you are a little more intentional, closing the browser, setting times for, okay, this is the time I'm going to check my email.
Yeah.
And of course, in our industry, we're always checking it. So we may have to check a little more. But if you set some boundaries with that as well, could go a long way and you won't feel as like frantic. Because when you do jump to that next thing, you just lost track of what you were doing and you're not quite time blocking what you should be doing. Setting time limits again on social media. We talked about that. He used the words, kill your TV. We had a would you rather episode and we kind of talked about would you rather no TV or no music. Is that what we said?
Yeah.
But either way, TV, I don't know, because again, it can bring, that is rest for some people.
Exactly.
But an unhealthy amount, obviously, it can make you feel a little
more
we
can still use it as a crutch. Like Courtney and I, one of our favorite things, and we've talked about this multiple times, is we have some shows that we watch together at night and stuff. But there's plenty of times where even in that's just a distraction. That's just an escape. And we're like, hold on, let's be together. We turn the TV off. Yeah.
For sure.
And so there's times where we have to kill the TV. And this is important too, that we have gotten so good at multitasking that we forget to single task, to focus on one thing at a time, right? Sometimes we're so multitask in all these different ways that we never actually get anything done. Focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Like when you're with your kids, be with your kids.
Yeah.
When you're at work, be at work. Those different things, like single task is really important. This next thing as a practical step, I'll tell a story with it, is that yesterday we had Max's T-ball game, and Lucas, the team snack afterwards was popsicles, and Lucas, the little brother, he got a popsicle though too. He got a leftover, and we're leaving the ballpark. And we are the last ones leaving because Lucas is walking as slow as you possibly can while he's just smoking this popsicle. And everything in me wanted to, hey, let's hurry up, let's walk. Man, but, just for a minute, I just had a little reminder. I'm like, I'm just going to go at his pace.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there, popsicle running all down his mouth, and he's just got little bitty legs, and he just beep.
What's the hurry? Beep, what would you do if you would have got to the car even a minute sooner?
Exactly. And so just walking slower.
Yeah.
Walking slower. Taking a slower pace, that's a big practical step. This is one that we've talked about a lot, is take a regular day that's alone for silence and solitude, a Sabbath. And my Sabbath isn't alone, it's with my family, but I do take some days alone at certain times. And it's not even, I don't really ever get a full day, but I'll ask Courtney, like, hey, this Thursday afternoon coming up, I don't have a whole lot of work. Do we have anything at home? Would it be okay if I go play 9 holes of golf by myself alone, right? And that's what I'll do. I'll go hop on the beautiful, prestigious Denham Springs Country Club. The greens look like, beaches, but I will put my AirPods in and I will just be alone for an hour and a half.
Yep.
And so we have to prioritize. We got to practically implement those things.
For sure. Next one they have is to take up journaling, which I see a lot of people doing, and I have taken that up a little bit, and it definitely slows things down. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, it's quicker if I just type it on my phone. I just start notes on that. But yeah, journaling, it does allow you to just kind of slow down because it takes longer to write.
It's therapeutic too.
It is.
Yeah.
Experiment with mindfulness and meditation, a prayer life that kind of goes into a Sabbath as well. But either way, it should be a daily thing to just try to find some time to just sit, meditate, pray, just kind of be more intentional with what you're doing.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it. Take vacations.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to take some long ones either. Brandy's always getting on to me because I usually like to go
keep them short.
Just keep them short, a few days. She's like, we never go on week-long vacations. I'm like, we got, there's work. We got to, so don't be afraid to take some long ones.
Do a long one, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last one, cook your own food. That's kind of a cool one.
Does he have kids?
There's
Cook
a
your
part
own
in the book
food.
where
Are
he
you
does say,
kidding?
look, kids are a big game changer.
One of Courtney's and I's favorite thing we used to do before we had kids was cook. We would do HelloFresh, sponsor us.
Yeah.
And we would put meals together and all that different stuff. Once we had kids, out the window.
It's hard. It is hard. Again, you got to be intentional, but you
Yeah.
don't realize sometimes, I'm not talking about you specifically,
Yeah,
how much time you have, how much time, no, this is not for you. You'll see how much time you have when you don't quite pick up your phone as much or watch TV as much.
Right.
You got a lot more time than you think.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It creates time.
Easier
really
said
does.
than done.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously this book it's a book. So we kind of sum this up in
Hit the
under 30
highlights.
minutes. So these practical things you can do, they sound a lot more like, yeah, I'm going to do these things in the book because you've just read for pages and pages.
Right.
To you right now, they may sound a little, look, dude, I ain't doing none of that stuff. Get me to where I need to go quick. But they're just ways to be thinking. But we want to make sure we leave you with knowing you as a leader are not weak if you need rest.
Yes.
Because rest is important for you to operate to your best self. So you got to take it.
100%. If we're pouring out of an empty cup, we got nothing else to pour.
No.
So we have to take some time to rest, to refill, so that we're pouring out into others out of the overflow, and you can only do that through rest.
Yep.
So hopefully you're on vacation resting now, or if you're on your way to work, scheduling some time to rest so you can kind of refill, get that back inside of you, so that you can overflow in other people. Anything else?
No, man. That's all I got.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Seriously, it means the world to us that you joined in. We'll see you next week.